What is up, Watch Fam? I am Christian, the curator of the Theo and Harris Watch Shop.
And I am Anna, the director of content.
And today we're going to be answering a bunch of watch-related questions that you folks asked through Instagram. If you do not already, follow us at Theo and Harris on Instagram. And today we're going to be talking about Rolex, the coronavirus, talking about marketing, talking about style, a whole bunch of topics. Boom, Watch Fam. Before we get started, what watch are you wearing, Anna?
I am wearing a Rolex GMT Master.
It was introduced in the early 80s. It was the first Coke GMT Master.
And yes.
If you put it side by side with a vintage GMT, you know immediately that it is not the same proportions. Mm-hmm. It's similar to a Submariner versus a Sea Dweller, right? They look the same. They're both 40 millimeters, but one is so much thicker.
Yeah.
So,
well, this one has a beautiful bezel. It's faded really nicely. If you haven't seen it already, last Thursday we did a video on this watch and about 4 others that were staples in vintage Rolex.
What I think is so interesting about Rolex, and we'll get into the questions in a second, is Rolex is now regarded as a luxurious brand, right? Everything from Rolex is luxurious. The Submariner is a luxurious, but Submariners and GMT Masters were comparably luxurious as Submariners, but the Submariner, that line specifically, that was never supposed to be a luxury watch. That was never supposed to be a
well, it didn't look like that from its inception.
Yeah, no, the Submariner was a tool watch for, decades.
Yeah.
And then with the gold Submariner 1680, and then with the 5513s that began to become glossy, white gold surrounds, things like that, it became luxurious. But throughout Rolex's history, there were always luxury watches in the catalog.
Just not in that line.
The tool watches weren't.
It's a bold move.
Yeah, that's what the whole video is about, basically in a nutshell. Yeah. So you should really watch it, and it did a great job with the footage. So let's get into the first question. Number 1, do you think yellow gold is going to make a comeback? I didn't know yellow gold was dead.
Yeah. Well, I think that that's a good question. I think that it could be seen specifically by maybe young people as being showy, specifically in watch form. The idea of traditional man wearing a gold watch is he thinks he's hot shit, kind of.
Right.
So I don't agree with that, especially when it's a smaller dress watch.
Yeah.
I just don't apply that to everyone. But I think that people might view it like that. But I think it's kind of always changing. People didn't really like vintage watches as much as the public does now until a couple of years ago.
Right.
So I think that the opinion on watches is going to keep shifting.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I don't think yellow gold ever went out. I think the more
you certainly love yellow gold.
Yeah, I love yellow gold. I said this years ago in a video. People always thought, is 20 years old or 18 years old, is it too young to wear yellow gold? Rolex specifically, or any brand, but Rolex is the classic rich bitch yellow gold watch.
Yeah, exactly.
And I said no. I mean, the whole idea is people are self-conscious about looking like a jerk.
Exactly.
But reality, if you're a jerk, you're a jerk. Your watch doesn't make you a jerk. Nor can a conservative watch save you from being a jerk if you are.
You don't look like less of one if you're just being one.
Right. A schmuck is a schmuck, and no matter what watch he's wearing. So no, yellow gold never died in my opinion. I think it will always be very important. Mm-hmm. I think that the larger argument would be rose gold. People feel that rose gold is timely as opposed to timeless. Even there, I guess I can understand those people more, but I still don't agree. I think that rose gold. I think a beautiful watch is a beautiful watch. Period.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't think a metal can go out of style. Trends come and go, but that doesn't make a metal any less or more attractive. At least not. If you have taste. Right? If you're just chasing trends, then one trend may go out, and you may feel that the thing is no longer cool. But no, a metal isn't inherently cool or uncool.
And I think a metal is much bigger than the trend. Usually the trend is a little more like a subsection of that.
Right.
It's hard to say that yellow gold is trending.
Right, yeah, I feel the same way. If you had to live somewhere that's not New York, where would you go?
I like the idea of London. If I'm totally departure and work doesn't matter because no, I can't. I love California. I'm from California. Right. I would live in Boston. I would live in a lot of places. Your answer is going to be limited.
No.
You're Italian farming fishing village.
Yeah. If I couldn't live in I always say this, like, if I couldn't live in capitalist America, like if I couldn't be in American industry, yeah, I'd probably be like a lemon farmer in Sorrento.
Of course.
Or I'd be a fisherman. Yeah, I'd be like a fisherman, something like that. So
yeah.
There you go. Oh, I mean, I love Madrid as well. But anyway, how did the coronavirus impact your business? So Theo and Harris, or just the watch industry in general?
Well, so, I mean, it's very small. We're lucky that a lot of what we basically already quarantine ourselves constantly. Like, I'm in my house working, and then I record at Poppy's, and then, like, we're in your house.
Yeah.
Like, there's not, it has affected, like, our shooting schedule and, like, release of some events we're doing, but, like, it's very minimal effect on us, which we're really lucky for, I think.
Well, I think
what about the larger watches?
Yeah, no, you're
I mean, obviously, it's huge.
I think it's actually, I would never, it's just reality. It's probably impacted us positively, unfortunately. I mean, you never want to, it sounds like it's bad, but it's just the truth. That money would be much better spent digitally. That money would be better spent working with brands like ours on how to create content around their releases. So it's not just a money thing, it's a time thing as well. So yes, now brands will say, okay, the $10 million we used to spend on SIHH, that's going to go, be spent elsewhere now. Let's say 50% of that money, $5 million per brand in this instance, goes to, new media, right? It's also the time. It's weeks and weeks of time that these marketing directors now have to learn and understand and appreciate what we do. So in a way, it is good for us, financially, but really more important, I think it's really good for everyone else. Again, not health wise, but as far as watch geeks and consumers, because I think that you're gonna start to see brands really cater to you guys. Mm-hmm. You're gonna start to see brands really dedicate time into being honest about their story and what makes them so cool. They're going to become better at storytelling, I think, because, a big booth at Basel doesn't cut it anymore. No. It's not 1972. No one's impressed by how big your booth is. No one cares. People want to hear why you deserve their money, right? And
in a meaningful way.
In a meaningful way, exactly. Yeah. So that's what I think is going to happen.
And hopefully they will learn in the weeks that they have, either quarantined or just unable to do the sort of tired practices they would have done. Yep. And they'll not only just this time use their money and time wisely, but maybe commit to becoming more active on digital forever.
That's what I mean.
So it could be really good for a lot of brands if they use their resources right, which
they should.
Great.
Will the Hulk be discontinued this year? Speaking of SIHH and Basel and releases and discontinuations, will the Hulk be discontinued?
I have no opinion on that.
Yeah, neither do I. Everyone's wondering, what is Rolex going to do? Rolex is obviously the big brand everyone talks about as far as what are they going to do. I have no idea. I have no idea. Some people say there's going to be a rose gold Submariner. That could be cool. They made a rose gold GMT. I think that was pretty successful.
Rose gold Submariner,
rose gold Submariner, black dial. It's pretty cool. I mean, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, Rolex will never do like vintagey things. They just don't do that. That's why they own Tudor. But I would love to see like a dark gray Submariner, as opposed to black. That'd be really cool.
That would be really cool.
Kind of like Ghost.
Like a matte dial.
They
could do like white text.
It'd be super cool.
That would be
absolutely
so awesome.
Phenomenal. Yeah. So that's a watch that I think would absolutely explode the business.
What else? What do you think? How about like the dress side? I mean, I guess you could consider like a rose gold GMT as dress.
No, but I mean, it's
not technically. That's professional.
Rolex has worked a lot on the Cellini line, but it still doesn't get really any attention. Yes. Some people say it's the most undervalued or underappreciated, watch in the market. I don't know. I hope that Rolex does resurrect that model line one day. For real, not just in R&D and production, but in marketing. Yeah, I'd love to see them really make it loved again. But who will know? But I don't know about the Hulk. I love the Hulk though.
Yeah. Okay. What about other brands? Do you have any predictions or definite like that's not a good idea for brands I guess Basel? Well,
I don't know. I know that Patek Philippe discontinued the white the white Nautilus. I know that. Okay. We could be seeing a new, larger Nautilus, a new reference. That's possible. A new large? Time-only, maybe precious metal Nautilus, 42, as opposed to 40 or whatever it is now. We could be seeing that. That wouldn't surprise me that much. I don't really care about that. I'd love to, I think we will, and I'd love to see a yellow gold, Nautilus come out. Yeah. Yellow on yellow or yellow with blue. It'd be really cool. They used to make it in the 3700 reference, and even the 3800, but it hasn't been made in a while.
Yeah.
We could see a two-tone Nautilus. Again, that doesn't, I'd love to see it, but I'm not staying up at night wondering what color
Waiting
changes
for the release.
Patek's going to make. I'd love to see something new. That would be interesting.
Right.
As far as Rolex is concerned, again, I don't know. I think that Tudor really needs to have a good year this year. We made a whole video about this. Tudor's a great watch brand. I'm a big fan of Tudor. They had some really early successes with the Pelagos and with the Black Bay, but a lot of their other lines, like the Advisor and the Ranger, they need to be reimagined.
Yeah.
Because if they do, they're going to just expand the strength of their catalog exponentially.
Okay.
The Black Bay doesn't need to be improved that much more. It's already a great watch.
Everyone loves it.
Right.
Yeah.
So spend more time on these other things. Not to mention when basically the only thing that the brand does as far as like new development is new colors. I'm wondering what are the fucking people that are in charge of R&D? What are they doing?
What do they do all day?
Like, you put 12 high schoolers with Photoshop. If you do Tudor's job for a year, I'd love to see something new. Yeah. So that would be very cool. No offense, Tudor. I love you guys, and I hope to work with you one day, and I'm sure we will. Because really, it's one of the best brands, dollar for dollar, out there. I mean, and they
For sure.
they wipe the floor with the competition, and rightfully so.
That's really interesting.
But I'd love to see them improve on their catalog.
Anything from AP, you think?
I mean, for me, the big thing with AP is just waiting to see this code 1159 be refined.
Would they do that so quickly?
Yeah, of course. I mean, it would just be dial edits. I mean, the code 1159 has one of the most remarkable cases I've ever seen. So they've got the foundation there. Then they just need to do better dials. So yeah, they could absolutely make a change to dials. Will they this year? Probably not. It's probably too soon. But they could have. The perpetual calendar is beautiful. The chronos are pretty cool. But I think that we're going to see that model become very important in the next 5 years. I just don't think this year.
There we go. And I personally think they released the best watch they're ever going to release last year.
Oh my, here we go again. Jeez.
If anyone forgot.
The white gold.
The white gold. Jumbo, extra thin,
Honey,
whatever.
salmon.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
The color scheme is kind of like that.
Yeah.
It really is. And the color scheme is pretty similar to that.
Yeah. Except that happened with nature, which is incredibly interesting.
Which is actually one of the questions. How does the Datejust you have in stock turn salmon?
This one.
Yeah. So,
right there.
So this is a Datejust. It dates to 1988.
Can you see it?
Reference 16014. So it's a quick set Datejust. Original Jubilee bracelet. Unpolished. Very nice watch.
Gorgeous.
It's unbelievable. But the question is, how did its silver tapestry dial turn to the salmon color? And it's impossible to know. Obviously, there was no water damage or anything like that. That's what people think a lot with patina. It's usually untrue. Usually, not always, but usually untrue. What I would guess happened here is very similar to what happened with the Patrizzi dial Daytonas. Patrizzi dial Daytonas are Rolex Daytonas, which used a protective coating called Zapon that proved to be ineffective. It wore real thin, and then the subdials tarnished to brown, which made them super collectible, and they're super awesome. That's probably what happened here. The coating, the protective layer on the dial was probably just not sufficient, so the dial was exposed directly to the elements, basically, apart from a crystal, and totally just change color, sunlight, things like that.
Yeah, okay.
So today, Rolex uses much different methods of seal, so this wouldn't happen.
Which is a bit of a shame.
In a way, yeah. I mean, this is definitely a defect. It just happens to be an absolutely lovely defect. Sure. So yeah, this is one of the best Datejusts you've ever had.
It's very cool.
Yeah, cool.
Next question. Next question is, what inspired your sense of style? I'm assuming this is meant towards you.
A lot of different things, right? All of our styles are inspired by a lot of different elements. I have like a very American style. I think that when you're an American kid that's interested in clothes, the first thing you want to be is not American, and it just is. Like everyone wants to be like Italian or British, and I did that too for a minute. I kind of realized a couple of years ago how really comfortable I was in like more traditional, like American, like John F. Kennedy kind of clothing. I definitely, wear things a little bit more fitted than traditional American, but still, and in the last couple of years, I've started to, be more comfortable in clothes, not that, skinny European look. It's not comfortable anymore. But it's an ongoing evolution, right? I think that, everything is somewhat inspired, right? Like, I have a love for, for like exotic dress shoes. I wear a lot of like alligator or whatever dress shoes, and that is totally from my family. I grew up seeing exotic dress shoes when I was a kid on holidays. So now I've kind of brought that and let it inform my style. So that's a fun little thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just inspired by so many. It's like your watch taste. Right, like who loves a GMT because of Magnum PI, right? Because they saw that as a kid, right? Your style is just pulled from all of your different life experiences,
even if it's subconsciously.
Absolutely, it usually is subconscious. I mean, you don't know why you love something always, you just do. I know why I love this watch. This is my newest watch, my Rolex Bombay, and I know I love it because it reminds me of Hemingway, because Hemingway often wrote about small, meaning 34 millimeter, oyster perpetuals. And for whatever reason, I've imagined them in gold. I don't know why, but that watch really reminds, and on strap, usually, at least in my kind of vision, on strap. So for whatever reason, this watch, makes me feel like that, So yeah, your style's pulled from everywhere,
Yeah, it's very cool.
All right, one more question. Do we have any book recommendations?
Book recommendations. Yeah, I just read Betrayal. It's actually a play by Harold Pinter. It's a really interesting depiction of 3 relationships that are like all intertwined, and it starts at the end, and then it unravels and explains the story and why they're sort of in this mess that they're in. Yeah, so I highly recommend it. I actually was able to see, he's laughing at me. I was able to see it on Broadway when Tom Hiddleston was in it, which love Tom Hiddleston. Anyway, so it's a great play. You can pick it up on Amazon for like $8 or something. So great read.
There you go. I will recommend a watch-related book. More important than any singular book I could recommend. Go ahead and follow Books on Time. Charlie is like bizarrely well-informed. Constantly, every day, posting about different books, whether it's about Cartier, which is all the time, Patek, and so many other brands. And it's unlike most Instagram content that is just so surface level, like when you actually have an account that is like dedicated to research, it totally allows you to really dive in way more into the thing you're passionate about or supposedly passionate about. So yeah, I love photos of watches as well. I love looking at watches, but in a sea of captions that basically read like, how good is that? Or so good, it's really great to see an account that actually has like meaningful contribution, and I highly recommend you go ahead and follow Charlie. Again, Books on Time. Thank you guys so much for asking all these questions. If you would like to submit a question to be answered on the channel, follow us at Theo and Harris. Thank you, Anna, for answering these questions with me.
Thank you for answering them with me.
It means a ton.
Oh my God.
See you guys soon.